Good evening and welcome to this Heroes Half Hour. I'm Hammy and this is StarCraft Cast. Hope you're well and good. We're going to be doing a new player intro and guide to Sgt Hammer, the range specialist hero in Heroes of the Storm. So what we're going to do is quickly run through Sgt Hammer's abilities, talk a bit about what a ranged and specialist class of hero does in Heroes of the Storm. Then we're going to play a quick game to show you her skills in action and give you a bit of an idea of playstyle and how it all comes together. So Sgt Hammer from the StarCraft universe. Siege tank, and if you're very familiar with StarCraft, you know that siege tanks siege up at range. They're very immobile, but they do loads and loads of damage. And whether you know StarCraft or not, that's how you play Sgt Hammer in a nutshell in Heroes of the Storm. Now, specialists in Heroes of the Storm have a bunch of different roles and abilities. Not all of them will be damage dealers, not all of them will be ranged, and similar and so forth. So, specialists, if you're a new player to Heroes of the Storm, you need to be a little bit careful, suss out how they play. They're not a straightforward damage dealer, they're not a straightforward healer, for example. Different kinds of class and role that you might be familiar with in other games, be they other MOBAs, League of Legends or similar, Dota and that, or perhaps MMOs or even RPGs. So let's take a quick look at Sgt Hammer's abilities to start with. We'll then go into the wonderful try mode, which you should always use in Heroes of the Storm. Lets you try any hero out in a bot match effectively for free, whether you own the hero or not. So Sgt Hammer. And beautiful Ride of the Valkyries rendition there. Spider Mines. Create mines that slow and damage enemies on impact. You are a siege class, you're a siege hero. You're going to need some defense, and these mines provide that defense. So these we will have a look when we jump into the game in a second, but effectively you cast them in a line, and they have a fixed cast area, so you can only put these a certain distance away from your hero, but they provide you some protection. They're like spider mines, so they'll jump out the ground when heroes or minions come near them. They'll run over and then do some damage. Concussive blast, knockback and damage enemies, and again you're a ranged hero, so what you need to be doing is keeping people away from you. If anyone melee range, any nasty damage dealers get up close to you, you want to push them away. So concussive blast is to keep people at range from you if you really need them to be kept there. Okay, we like your Ride of the Valkyries. We're gonna when you shake them dizzy, you can shake and use it dizzy, and then Sgt Hammer goes back inside her tank. Siege mode. This is the bread and butter ability of Sgt Hammer. Become immobile to increase range, deal splash damage, and bonus damage to minions and structures. So you siege up, you're pretty immobile. However, you get more damage, more range, more structure damage, so you become more strong and more unstoppable. However, of course, that's going to make you very vulnerable, so you're already getting a sense with Sgt Hammer's abilities. You need to keep people away from her, you need to pick your position carefully in siege mode, and when you're in siege mode you're doing loads of damage. Artillery, deal more damage to enemies that are far away. So far, so makes sense. We're keeping people away from us, we're making sure we're in a safe place to siege, and when we siege, artillery helps us do more damage. One of two heroics, of course. Blunt force gun. Fires a rocket with unlimited range that damages all enemies it passes through. That is basically a line aimed weapon. You fire it down a line. It's a sort of line channeled ability. And evening to Mouldy, who's joined us. So that will effectively let you fire. It flies across the map. It's not limited to a particular distance, and damages all enemies that it passes through. You then also have Napalm Strike, a long range volley that deals damage to enemies in an area. You've got one sort of directly shooting ability and another that does a bit more of an area ability. So, long story short, that's Sgt Hammer. We'll take a quick look through talents and show you what can be done here, what kind of ways you can tweak Sgt Hammer. Now, of course, I'm only level 3. You need to get any hero in the Storm to level 4 to get full use of all of these advanced talents that you see. So we'll play with what we have. Advanced Artillery, more damage to long range enemies. Lethal Blast, increase the damage of Concussive Blast by 50%. People close to you, of course, with that Concussive Blast you can push away, do more damage. And then Resistant one in Siege mode, the duration of silences, stuns, slows and roots are reduced by 75%. You're very vulnerable to getting stuck in one position and killed, so Resistant will help you perhaps escape. Ambush, Cloak when entering Siege mode, and your next basic attack does 100% more damage, a nice way of doing some more damage and keeping yourself safe. And then Regen Master, a generic talent that lots of people can access, but you can get 4 health per second permanently if you're guzzling up those regeneration globes, encouraging you to kill minions. Level 4, Focused Attack. Next basic attack, dealing more damage. Vampiric Assault, again another generic talent. Basic attacks heal you. Maelstrom Shells, a Sgt Hammer specific one. Standard basic attack range by 20%, very nice on top of your siege mode. And then double the knockback distance, you can again buff your concussive shot that little bit better. Level 7, Slowing Mines. Increased movement speed slow of spider mines to 40% in the duration to 2 seconds. Again, that's going to help you if you throw those mines down, lets you get away a little bit easier. Hypercooling engines. Your thrusters, and obviously you can't mount because you're in a tank, but thrusters is your equivalent of a mount that lets you jet away. Reduces the cooldown, and then thrusters are always active at the altar, meaning that you can run back into battle more quickly. Finally, First Aid. Heals you as it says on the tin. The 2 abilities that we've already discussed. We've got your Blunt Force Gun there and Napalm Strike. Giant Killer at level 13, doing more damage to heroes. First Strike. Basic attacks deal more damage if you haven't been attacked in the last 5 seconds. You're playing as a ranged hero, you don't really want to get attacked, so First Strike can be very, very helpful to you. Bullhead Mines, again buffing your mines. Spider Mines also do a knockback as well, so you can see a lot of the traits buffing your Q, your mines, buffing your W, your concussive shot, can push people further away from you and do that bit more damage. You've also got Barricade, create a wall of path blocking debris for 4 seconds. Again, notice how the trends here are to keep people away from Hammer and to put distance between her and people who might be chasing her, buying you time to run away if you're in siege mode. Up to 16, Executioner, 40% more damage against status affected targets. Minefield, more mines to protect you. Hover siege mode, like this a lot. You can move at 50% movement speed in siege mode. Remember that going into and coming out of siege mode actually takes a little bit of time, so hover siege mode will give you that little bit of time if you really need to move while you're sieging to get minions into range, for example, or if you need to move away but don't have time perhaps to unsiege. That could be very, very handy indeed. Also got graduating range there. While in siege mode, your standard basic attack range increases by 20% every 3 seconds. That's very, very nice indeed. It means that you can shoot further and further and further and further, up to 100%. A nice big range increase, very useful as well. If you're good at moving, you might want to go for that piece of range. And then Stone Skin. Activate to gain 30% of your match health as shields. Again, a nice way to keep yourself nice and solid for a few more seconds. Orbital BFG, as are. Your missile from Blunt Force Gun orbits the planet every 5 seconds. So you fire it in a line, and then it's going to travel along that line every 5 seconds and go all the way across the map. So if you position that in a tactical way, it can always maybe go across the enemy's base. So if enemies are retreating to their arena plinth to heal up, you might be able to catch them there. Or perhaps if enemies are fighting something like a boss golem in the middle of the map and they're going to be there for a while, firing the BFG across that area will mean that they'll get hit multiple times because there's not too much room for them to move. So tactical use of that can be good. Lava Strike, longer range on your Napalm Strike, 50% more damage, and then Fury of the Storm, a generic talent. So that is our quick overview of Sgt Hammer. What we're then going to do, and if you're in Heroes of the Storm or get in, you should always go into the shop, look at a hero, and then hit try. You can see it's going to make us a little arena that we can jump into and try Sgt Hammer out. So I'm just going to show you some of her abilities in practice quickly, and then we're going to jump into a game and show you how she works in a real life situation. So we have, I'm going to go for, let's say, none of these are huge. I'm going to go for Advanced Artillery, just in terms of what the most visible changes are. Going to level up all the way to 20, so we can pick all of the talent paths that we want to go for. And then we can show you the 2 different ultimates as well. So as you can see, you get Malfurion, you get Arthas, the long-suffering hero, on the other side of the table, and just one lane, if you look in the bottom right of a map, that you can use to try heroes out in. So I'm going to go for bigger, increased basic attack range, because that'll be a visible change. Slowing mines, that's not so visible. I'm going to go for hypercooling engines. Let's go for the Blunt Force Guns, we can show that in action. Knockbacks, concussive blast creates a wall. I like the sound of that. Let's look at that. A minefield with more mines, moving slowly in siege mode. I feel that's a good one that we can look at. And then the orbital BFG. You can kind of toggle minions, you can refresh forts, you can reset levels, click cooldowns, so you can spam abilities as much as you like. So firstly, the mines. You can see the range of the mines there. You can see a little channel ability. Down go those mines, they pop up, do damage. So far, so simple. We then have Concussive Blast. Now we've got this buff with Barricade. You can see not only am I knocking Arthas back, but you see that wall of debris that's been created. That means that I can use that to run away from Arthas if I need to. So if If I click cooldowns, let's just see that again. You can see it fires in a cone, wall of debris there. I'm pushing heroes back. That wall is also going to stop any heroes from chasing me, so very useful as well. Siege mode, well, you can see the big dotted blue line around the outside of me. That's my range. I'm going to siege up there. See me starting to do damage. You can see a push back there, nice little wall protecting me. Throw down some mines under that wall. All well and good. And finally, we can show you BFG. You can see my channel. I'm going to fire that after Arthas and hopefully do something accurately. Does some damage to him. Arthas running on him and getting done got. So there we go. Advanced artillery increasing the damage bonus to long range enemies, and you can see because of my BFG upgrade, can you see that that is just flying over and over the map. You can see the flight radius, the flight direction of course, illustrated by those blue arrows. And a welcome to Tilly joining us as well. So you can see that if Arthas stays in that line, he's going to get hit by that bullet as it flies through again. And you can see I do have my hovering upgrade as well in place, which means that I can hover around a bit in siege mode. If I didn't have this hovering upgrade in place, then I would be routed to the spot. So although that's slow, you can see that if I unsiege, it takes that little bit of time, and there goes my BFG, very nicely done. So I'm just going to level up one more time. We'll show you the other ultimate, and then we'll jump into a game and get stuck in. Okay, so what else can we show you? Disabling effects we won't really see. I think ambush for that cloak and extra damage will be interesting. Double the knockback distance, let's have a look at that with excessive force. Why not hyper cooling engines for our thrusters to show you how we can get around, and we'll go for napalm strike this time instead. Have some knockback with the spider mines, 2 more mines, and you can gradually increasing range in siege mode. I'd like to have a look at that, and then of course the buff advanced lava strike, increased range and impact damage. So you can see my thrusters in action here. You always have those thrusters if you pick that talent active from the Nexus. Okay, so let's see the double knockback in action. See that Arthas going doubly back with concussive blast there. Spider mines, well, I can throw that down. You can just see I should get my 5 mines instead of the 3 doing the damage. Napalm strike, let's have a look at this in action. There goes the napalm. Throws down the napalm, and you can see it leaves a napalm area that deals 110 per second. So very good against minions, very good against mercenary camps. Good use for napalm strike there. Double knockback there. I'm going to siege myself up now. Now you can see that because I don't have the hovering talent, I'm not moving anywhere, but I'm cloaked, and then my first attack when I come out of cloak is doing a bit more damage. So different playstyles. If you're a new player to Heroes of the Storm, to games like this, and you're playing Sgt Hammer for the first time, may not be the easiest hero to start with, but I would fully recommend you spec your talents and pick your talents as you go through the game into movement related ones. Give yourself more time to get away. Okay, I'm going to throw down my napalm strike, and we're going to take out Arthas. Poor Arthas flying away there. So there we go, that is our run through of Sgt Hammer. We're going to jump on in and play a game now, so if you're on Twitch, don't go away. We're going to show you a game of this, or if you're on YouTube, click the link in the top left. You can get us into a game. You can see how Sgt Hammer plays an actual game, but that's our little hero preview. So to find more, youtube.com/failcraftcasts, a bunch of Heroes of the Storm stuff, Hearthstone and more there. Come join us live on stream, twitch.tv/failcraftcasts. We go live 5 nights a week. And last but not least, the website, failcraft.org. You can find our streaming times on @failcraftcasts on Twitter. So if you are live on Twitch, don't go away. If you're on YouTube, let us know what you think. Hopefully see you soon. Take